Okay, everybody, welcome back. Next up, we've got the guys from Dimsi. We've got Quentin, Jeffrey, and Gregoire as well, who's come in last minute. They're going to be talking about a project they've been working on for backing up KVM. Over to you guys.
Thank you, guys. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining this KVM backup talk. I am Grégoire Lamodière, co-founder of Dimsi, and I am also a cloud architect, helping our customers to define their cloud strategies and move their resources on a multi-cloud approach. Dimsi is a software company created in 2006 with 35 members in 2022. We develop software solutions to meet our client needs, and we also provide professional services around the Dynamics 365 platform. We have offices in Paris, Lorient, and Sousse in Tunisia. Since 2008, we've been offering an IaaS platform for our customers. And for many years, this platform has been using the Apache Cloudtack project with a dedicated and in-house UI. Today, we are going to talk about an open source backup solution for Linux KVM environments. And I am with Geoffrey and Quentin from Dimsi, from our Lorient office in Britain. Geoffrey and Quentin, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Geoffrey Lomseisana. I'm a cloud engineer and I've been working for Dimsi for 5 years now. I contribute to the maintenance and the evolution of our cloud services, both in terms of server hardware and software. I work daily on KVM and CloudStack. For this project, I've been working with Quentin for a few months now. My job is focused on the backup and the restore process, testing the solution's performance and reliability. When I'm not in front of a computer, I'm either playing board games or outside doing parkour. Now Quentin will introduce himself.
Thank you, Geoffrey. Hi, everyone. My name is Quentin Roccia. I have been working as DevOps engineer at Dimsi for 3 years, mainly on the infrastructure side, but I also help developers by providing them with automation and deployment tools thanks to my pipeline knowledge. I am the main contributor for our in-house cloud portal and for the backup project that we will introduce to you. I've been working nearly every day with CloudStack for the last 3 years, and I'm very happy to bring something to the community that can be useful. I hope you will be as excited as we are.
Thank you. Maybe we can move to, yeah. Okay, so let's move to project overview. First of all, a little project history. At Dimsi, we've been trying to move from different hypervisors to Linux KVM for many years, but all attempts failed due to the lack of a proper, stable, and reliable backup solution. Last year, we finally decided to move our production to Linux KVM, and we also developed our own backup solution with the same level of features, reliability, and ease. This year, we are now willing to open this project to the community, and we will be very happy to welcome any contribution. Geoffrey, could you please now explain our initial expectation for this solution?
Yeah, so we had several expectations at the beginning of this project. At Dimsi, we're using CloudStack with KVM and NFS primary storage. So our expectation became of features. The first one was to be able to make forever incremental backup, which consists of only backing up the data that has changed since the last backup. This allows us to speed up the backup process and also reduce the network and storage load. It also requires less storage space, which is always great. The second one was to perform the backup without any agent. When we were looking for a backup solution, most of them required an agent installed on the VM. And this is something we really wanted to avoid, as it could be seen as intrusive by the clients, and it could require network or ACL modification. The third one was we wanted a backend storage agnostic solution, a solution that can work with any backend storage as long as it is connected to KVM. Also, to onboard more people on this project, Quentin developed an API to access every feature available. This could be used to connect the solution to CloudStack, for example, or build custom user interfaces. With this API, Quentin made a nice front end, which is a web UI, user-friendly interfaces to define your backup strategy and restore your VM in a few clicks. So I will hand over to Quentin for the technologies used in this project.
Thank you. So you may ask, why does technology stack, this technology stack? When I started working on our backup solution, I wanted something that can be future-proof, of course, but technology is evolving so fast that it cannot be perfect. So I ended up using tools I was interested in and with whom I already had a certain affinity. As you can see, this is a simple addition of well-known libraries paired with Python. To go into a little bit more detail, Borg is a wonderful deduplication backup program. Combined with the possibilities offered by KVM and snapshots, it allows us to live backup all our virtual machines without any interruption, which is great. The only prerequisite is the QEMU guest agent that must be working properly on the guest system. Another significant point is managing those long-running background tasks. This is where Celery comes in. Thanks to this library, we can dedicate specific workers to handle backup and restore tasks. To put it in another way, Celery is an implementation of the task queue concept. Finally, we wanted to make the backup application easily maintainable and deployable, and Docker images are perfect for this. You only need to install Docker on a server, then you can kickstart the app and start backing up each virtual machine. And of course, we use KVM with VueJS and Python. Let me use a graphic to explain the whole application. So as you can see, all services are part of a Docker Compose deployment. It includes the front end, the back end, the Celery workers, Flower, the task manager web interface, and of course Redis to queue ongoing tasks. It is not indicated in the schema, but it is necessary to have a database to store some information like the list of hypervisors, backup policies, and some other stuff. All of this is required because we have designed the application to work even on a vanilla KVM infrastructure and with CloudStack environments. Okay.
So let's zoom out and take a look at the big picture. You can see in the center of this diagram, we have the backup server with Celery managing the task on the server. The backup server is connected to the KVM hosts and both the primary storage from CloudStack and the backup storage. For example, when a job is started, Celery manages the task. We have the backup server. It will send the command to the KVM hosts, and it will operate the Borg command to interact with the primary storage and the backup storage. So let's look at the backup and restore flow. The backup is made using VueJS as in the snapshot capabilities, which allows us to make incremental backup since the last backup taken. We start by taking a snapshot using VueJS snapshot create as with atomic and quiet options, so there's no interruption made on the running virtual machine. Then we create the backup using a Borg create, which will interact with the primary and the backup storage. Now that we have our data, we can commit the snapshots with VueJS block commit, and then we delete the snapshot. So if I repeat the process many times, I will have a lot of backup, right? So to manage the retention and the backups, we use Borg prune. This command will delete the backup not matching the retention we set, and it will merge the previous backup. And for the restore part, we use a simple Borg extract, which will restore the VM volumes. Then we power off the VM on CloudStack. We replace the volumes in the primary storage, and once the copy is done, we can start the VM and access our data. So now Quentin will show you what it looks like.
So to sum up the demo that we are going to show you, we are going to create files to simulate important data on a virtual machine. Then we will back up the virtual machine. We will delete those files to simulate the data loss. Then we will restore the virtual machine and check if everything is back on track. Yeah. So to begin with, I'm going to connect to my virtual machine. So here we go.
From a well-known UI.
Yeah. Okay. So what are we gonna do now is creating a dummy file to simulate some very important application data. Let's say we have a folder that contains a very important database. So my application. Then we create some dummy file of, let's say, 5 gigabytes. That we will call database.sql. Okay. So once we have created the file, we are gonna back up the virtual machine disk. To do this, I take the ID or the name of the virtual machine. Then I go to backup. So this is the interface of our backup solution, which is built on VueJS. So here I select my virtual machine. Okay, so now we launch the backup task. So there is 2 ways to monitor the task. You can go to Flower. I said earlier that Flower is the monitoring application that allows us to track every task. So we see now that the backup task has begun. It will take some time.
It takes around a few seconds, I guess, to make the backup.
Yeah, depends on
Of the size of the, of course.
size of the data. So this is only the data that are backup.
So yeah, we are making the snapshots and export and push to Borg.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the background, it creates a snapshot and then copied the file of the disk.
So now we have a backup.
Yeah. So now we are gonna delete those files to simulate the data loss, which is never happens in real life, of course. But let's say we lose those really important files, and we are going to restore this virtual machine disk. So again, I will select my virtual machine. All right. So you can find here all the information extracted from the KVM host, like the name of the virtual machine, its state, etc. You can see the VDA file, and we have calendar, which shows the day where the backup has been backed up. The virtual machine has been backed up. So here I start the restore task. So again, you can check it on Celery or directly in the backup maker interface. So here we say we have one active task, which is VM restore disk.
Restore is a bit longer, I guess, than the backup process.
Not really.
Not really?
It can be really fast.
Okay.
It really depends on the nature of the file.
So you do all the process in the background, Borg extract, and
Exactly. So as Geoffrey said, here we Borg extract the archive, then we copy the file on the primary storage. Of course, we stop the VM before that. Then we start it again.
And so far, is there any integration with CloudStack, with CSDB, or is it still under development?
We didn't make any change to the DB.
Okay, just write the volume on the primary storage.
Yeah,
okay.
we avoid making changes.
Yeah. Don't tell Shake we do something.
So here we connect to our virtual machine. So of course we have to log in again because it has reboot. Okay. And let's check if we have our files. Great. So our files are back in place and everything is fine. You can go in the weekend without any trouble.
Wonderful. So now, thank you very much for this demo. So what are the next steps for this project? First of all, we are going to open this project and release it as an open source project. For us at Dimsi, this is the first time making this process. So if anybody has experience on this, we will be very happy to discuss and to maybe to have some help. Then we'll also be happy to get any opinion, ideas, improvement, and feedbacks. This is important to us. The next milestones will consist mainly in new features development. Some of them, for example, are one-click deployment, I think, so you can deploy all backup infrastructure in one click.
Exactly.
Because right now the process is quite
it's quite
complex,
fast, but it needs some manual touch.
Okay.
So Docker file.
Docker file, database, etc. So I need to automate this thing.
Okay, sure. Then we also want to work on a more CloudStack integration. We know there is a backup API within CloudStack. So far, we've not studied really deeply this API. So we want to take the time to check it and maybe implement it. We also want to work on a feature called the file level restore to give capability to download only one file from a specific backup. Today, Quentin demo was to restore the full virtual machine, and now we want to move to a single file restore. And of course, if the community has any feature idea, we'll be definitely happy to discuss this. We also want to meet some quality standards with mainly in the industrialization of our testing process and probably testing the software on different hardware as well. And finally, we do want to market the project. We want to try to federate a community of users, developers. At Dimsi, this project has a very high priority and is fully integrated in our roadmap. It means we are going to allow time and resources to help Quentin and Geoffrey working on this backup solution. I think this is mostly the next steps. So thank you everybody for listening, Quentin, Geoffrey, myself. It's been really a great pleasure to prepare and make this presentation today. I hope you'll be as excited as we are about this project. And of course, if anybody is interested to join us, please feel free to reach us anytime. And now, if you have any question, we'll be happy to reply.
Thanks, guys. It was a really good, really interesting work. There's quite a few questions coming. I'm going to ask one myself to start with. Have you thought of a name for the project?
That's a good question, guys.
Actually, it is discussed internally. We do not.
But maybe we have to make a community.
Yeah,
a community poll. No, right
Yeah, I think if people start writing in the chat now, the three guys here will agree that the best suggestion on the chat is the project name going forward, right? Or is that too dangerous? Yeah, there's some serious questions coming in now, and I'm going to paraphrase a few of them. Few people are asking about sort of CloudStack integration. You mentioned it yourself then, Gregoire, specifically around, did you look at the CloudStack CloudStack backup and recovery framework. Is that what you mean when you're thinking about?
Yes, right. You're right, guys. Yeah. It was. We spoke a few years ago about this feature, and this is something we wanted to check.
Yeah. Because I suppose effectively what that would do is bring this great functionality easily into the CloudStack API and the CloudStack UI without you guys having to worry about maintaining that independently, right?
Sure.
Couple of different questions. People saying, what is Flower? Can you tell us more about Flower?
Yeah, so Flower is a tool that can, it's just a web interface that allows us to track every task handled by Celery. So it's optional, you don't have to install it. But I think it's great to have a web interface to help you handle those very
time-consuming processes.
Yes.
It's a way of checking visually kind of asynchronous tasks, I guess. So you can have a look on exactly what's going on a backup process. If you want to back up, let's say, hundreds of VMs, you have to know exactly what's going on and where you are in the backup process.
If the task failed, you can have the full back trace, etc., the duration of the task. You can have all the required information of the task that has been run.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as an end user, you do not need to navigate through the Flower interfaces. You can just use the.
Everything has been integrated in the REST API, so you do not have to use it.
Okay, get it. Venko's asked, he actually asked again about the CloudStack integration, but also he specifically said, do you use the CloudStack API for making snapshots and reverting volumes, or are you talking directly to Versh?
So currently we only use Versh because we focused on making it available with CloudStack environment, but also with KVM infrastructure. So the application has been built to work on the two scenarios.
Okay.
But maybe later we could say you might enable CloudStack deployment on the top of backup.
Yeah, of course we can.
Solution. And in such
detect,
case, we can use API.
Yeah, we can detect if the KVM host is managed by CloudStack and then use the CloudStack API to handle those tasks.
Okay, Vivek's got a couple of questions. What if I have multiple disks and want to restore only one disk? And then secondly, if I've got multiple disks and I want to take a backup of only one disk or one drive?
So it backup all the disks currently. But this is something we can work on. For now, we only do a full backup of the virtual machine, but yeah, of course.
So we make a backup of the full virtual machine, but you may restore only one disk.
Yeah, you can only restore one disk at a time. But the backups all the disks of the virtual machine.
Get it. Rene's asked, what license have you published it under? Is it Apache 2?
I think it's for you.
Sorry,
the license of the project.
Oh, but this is guys, this is definitely something we have to work on, and that was in my next steps, because we have no real experience on this, so we want to open this code and open this to the community, so we can work all together. But we have no experience on the licensing mode or whatever. So if anyone has time to help us, it will be very good.
I'm sure people in the community will grow well. And if it's if you want my opinion, yes, Apache 2 is a very, very good license to be using for a project like this. I think that's what Rene was hinting at as well. Okay, I think, oh no, another one from Venko. Do you support raw block storage, i.e. Ceph, store pool, solid fire, Limbit?
On the backend storage?
Does it support raw blocks? Currently, we only support QCO2. We managed to back up raw format for the disks, but we choose to only work on QCO2 for now. But again, this is something we can, if the community wants us to do it, we can go into that direction.
Yeah, you have to understand that right now this project was firstly created to work on our own production environment.
Yeah.
So now we want to open the code, and of course we can adapt to any backend storage and any other storage back on KVM.
Great. Okay. Any more questions coming in? Can't see any more. A lot of people on the chat saying thank you very much, guys. Good work, and thanks for a great talk. And I'll join everybody in saying thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.